Hello guys, it's that time again for Corsair Vengeance Cup, the all-important third match between Meteor Makers and Navi. Currently stands at 1 apiece, and I'm going to pass it straight over to Enzi, who I assume is soon going to get quite a lot of stalkers.
Well,
he's mad.
live on stream, I want to announce my official quitting of Chaos TV. I refuse to work for this man.
Oh god. But with that being said and done, back to League of Legends. Thought for a second we could have seen an engage coming out there from Meteor Makers, but they are going to pull back instead towards their race, and Olaf going to recall. And I'm kind of disappointed, Enzi. I wanted to see Brolaf, and we haven't got him. Gutted.
It seems when Olaf is actually played, we never see Brolaf, which is kind of weird because that is probably the best skin on the game. Not even going to lie.
It's my favourite for sure. It's the only legendary skin I've actually got, and it's the only legendary skin I'll probably ever have. So good. But either way, don't think we're going to see any Team 1 fights kicking off, which, to be fair, we haven't seen all games, NZ. Neither of these games have we seen the two teams kind of butting heads in the mid or anything like that. Pretty much just saw a lot of action around that blue, as you'd expect from the junglers starting off. Of course, we are going to see Maokai once again coming out from Navi. Was so instrumental in that first game, ganking, and I think it's pretty much just going to be more of the same. There is actually a ward down, though, for Meteor Makers on this blue buff, so they could try the steal. Lee Sin's going to be coming in. Can he get that smite off in time? Nice pull out on the blue back towards the bush, and therefore Lee Sin's not going to be able to steal. So awesome play coming out there from Udia and Maokai. And it's the small things like that, Enzi, that can make the big difference. Had they not have pulled blue away, Lee Sin could have stole that one comfortably with smite.
Yeah, exactly. Great thinking there from Maokai, and now Lee Sin will go towards that red. Going to pick that one up as well. But I think this is going to be a very even game. I mean, you got two very good junglers that are very strong early on as well. You got the Lee Sin, obviously jump to allies and enemies, bringing them ganks. And then on the other hand, like we saw last game, the beautiful Maokai play from Navi right there with the great ganks early game. Did some really nice stuff top. I think Lee Sin is actually going towards the top lane, Vince, so I think you should take it away.
Absolutely, he is just going to be chilling in that bush. I think he's waiting for the right moment to strike, actually. But Olaf throwing down that undertow is actually going to push the creeps a tiny bit. So Lee Sin going to be pulling back, realising there's not too much to gain here. Even if he did jump in, the chances are Udia would comfortably get back there without too much problems whatsoever. And typically, as soon as Lee Sin pushes back, then Udia gets a tiny bit more aggressive. So Lee Sin is just going to pull the race pretty much right now. Going to take them down with minimal ease. Going to be a bit of a farm fest, I think, here, Enzi. I mean, Maokai, as soon as he's picked, you know it states one thing alone. There is going to be a lot of early ganks. There has to be. It's where Maokai really steps up his game. And so far, he hasn't actually attempted any. We could see him picking up these golems and perhaps trying to set up a gank at bot lane, because by and large, Kog'Maw and Nunu have been pushed very far back on their tower, which we saw last game as well, Enzi. The starting sort of 15-20 minutes, Kog'Maw was on the back foot. The last 15 to 20 minutes, he was absolutely decimating faces. And I reckon we're probably going to see more of the same here. Maokai now starting to push down towards bot lane. Going to see a few marks as well. So this gank is definitely on the cards, but there is a ward out there from Meteor Makers, so they are going to see this Maokai starting to push, but instead he's going to opt to go the other way. He has managed to actually flash, but Corgi using that Valkyrie just as Maokai flashes, so that gank has been completely denied there from Meteor Makers. Now Maokai is probably going to bow his head, be a tiny bit depressed, and push back to the jungle once again.
Yes, he will be a sad tree, but this is exactly what I said, you know, Meteor Makers, they know how to shut down that Kog'Maw early on, and I think Maokai, he realises that, you know, they've said, okay, look, I'm going to need some help bot lane, I'm going to need some assistance, they really shut me down last game, and as you can see already, Maokai is trying to give them a little bit of hand, you know, it was quite a fail gank, you know, he did use the flash up, but as long as he's applying pressure at that bot lane, he's still doing his job as a jungler, you know, but he is losing out quite a lot. Kog'Maw, you know, he just has to sail through the early game, you know, just take it smoothly, hit the waves, and just dominate late game.
Yeah, but I mean, Meteor Makers, they're doing a great job. They know Maokai is very much ganky focused towards the start of the game. You can see they've got a ward top lane. Olaf can see him coming in plenty of time to react, and bot lane as well, they have a ward. So Maokai can only really gank in that mid right now without being detected, And with being against a character like Orianna, who of course can give herself that shield and defend herself, then it's going to be difficult for him to actually pick up kills. And that was a failed gank at bot lane. There's no two ways about it. Corki got away with Valkyrie, didn't even need to pop his flash, and of course Maokai burning his flash in the process. So a bit of a failed gank in that respect, but I don't think he's going to let it bother him too much, as we actually saw something very similar happen before. He's now going to be going onto that Olaf. Will Olaf be able to survive this onslaught? He's popped the ghost, and he's going to be able to get away there on very, very low health. He doesn't want to stick around for too long, because Udyr has a flash and ignite. So if Udyr has that bear form, flash, ignite, bear form, stun, Olaf will still die regardless. And Olaf is just going to pull back now. Orianna coming towards that top lane, going to be putting the defending ball on top of Olaf and allow him to pick up the golems. So in fact, maybe not going to be taking the golems after all. He pulled the golems and tried to recall while they attacked him. That was a bit strange to watch.
Oh well. But you know, back to the gank at bot lane, you know, even if it was fair, it does happen to everybody. It was just a bit unfortunate, but I think he's just going to go back, like you said, and just farm up. Let's have a quick look at CS just really early on. Maokai on 22, Lee Sin on 30. I only really saw Lee Sin gank up top, you know, that early level. Didn't really come of anything though. So he's just going to farm up now, and like you said, it's going to be a farm fest. It's exactly the same as, you know, what games kind of tend to do in League of Legends. At the start, it's either all-out action all through the game, or it's a very slow start, then it builds up into a big team fight, and it comes all down to that, and then it kind of snowballs on from there. So really, they're just got to farm up, and the first gank that comes out is going to be very important, and I think from there on, I think it's definitely going to snowball, as long as it's late enough in the game. If a gank comes out now, you know, any team can come back from it, but we're just going to have to see how the CS comes out, and how them ganks are performed.
You have to say though, that the longer this game goes on for, and if it does stay that kind of stalemate as you're predicting potentially, then Kog'Maw is going to be even more of a threat than last game, because he's just going to be allowed to farm up, and of course it doesn't really need to be stated that Kog'Maw, when he's farmed and has items, is absolutely ridiculous. So he's going to cut through the likes of Lee Sin very comfortably. He's going to cut through the likes of an Olaf very comfortably as well. Olaf more than likely going to be building Wriggle's Lantern, Frozen Mallet, Atmars and Paler. Those are kind of three core items for him at top lane. Maybe he'll move on from that, get the Hex Drink or something as well. Only time will tell. But he is facing off against an Udyr who has some cavalry coming up with Maokai once again, but Lee Sin is also there. Looks like Udyr is really trying to bait on these two players, and here comes Maokai with this snare. First blood going down from Lee Sin, but Maokai will return fire straight away onto Lee Sin. But of course, the downside there is that Meet Your Makers actually picked up the first blood, and that will allow them to get the 400 gold. So yeah, not necessarily the greatest of things there for Navi, as that 400 gold could make all the difference for now for that Lee Sin. Last time I believe it was Maokai picked up first blood, and he actually got 2 kills relatively quickly after that as well.
Yeah, so both junglers have kill now, they're basically even, but obviously the 100 gold advantage there. Not much in it still, you know, just 1-to-1, and she's going to go back to farming. Maokai will go back. Let's have a quick look at what he's going to get. He's already got the Philo Stone and the boots. I could probably expect that he's going to build that Heart of Gold from the Sapphire Crystal. Yeah, he probably is. And he picks up a ward as well, just in case he wants to ward his own jungle or an opposition jungle at a buff. At about 7:10, or well, it's past 7:10, I'm just losing track of time. I was going to say the buffs do come up, but that's already happened. But yeah, still, you know, bot lane. Oh, sorry about that.
I saw the kill go down. I was like, when is Enzi going to see it? And you're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I weren't watching on camera.
Morgana was basically very aggressive in mid, managed to land the dot binding and also harass Orianna enough that Soul Shackles finished her off with Ignite underneath the tower. In the meantime, though, bot lane, you're going to see Corki applying some pressure of his own onto Nunu and Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw having to go back. A very similar situation to last game, actually, Enzi, where Kog'Maw has by and large been bossed by this dual partnership at bot lane. So I mean, will the same happen? Will Kog'Maw manage to pull himself back here and really provide some fireworks at the end? I mean, you've got Kog'Maw on 52 creep score, Corki on 78, so Corki definitely ahead there in that exchange, and that's pretty much a carbon copy of the last game that we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was out. Kog'Maw was out farmed, and MYM just kept pushing that Kog'Maw back, and it's exactly the same that's happening. But like you said, the longer this game goes on, the more it's going to favour Kog'Maw. Despite how many CS he's got, you know, he's got 52 to 82. He's a bit behind, but he can definitely come back as long as his positioning is as ace as it was before. It's definitely going to favour Kog'Maw because, as you said, you know, in them team fights, the positioning, just the raw positioning from all of the Navi players, the focus as well was absolutely tremendous. The whole team synced together. It was a great composition for them, and Coldmore really outshined their team.
Yeah, I mean, Meet Your Makers had this cutesy kind of approach of let's just split up and let Cassiopeia come around the back and just basically petrify and gaze everybody. But Cogmore was just solid. Every single team fight, he was out of contention and just basically spamming across onto the enemy, and he was picking up loads of kills. So, as you say, if you can kind of rinse and repeat there, if you can continue on with that form, then he's going to be a real nightmare. And it's also important to note as well, he's with Nunu. That blood boil, as the time progresses, as the likes of a Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge are built on that Cogmore, is just going to be absolutely unbelievable damage. So, as slow as he's starting right now, if he can manage to pull himself back, it's not going to matter a great deal. Having said that, though, Dragon is going down from Meet Your Makers, will be a completely free Dragon, just Soraka and Lee Sin picking that one up. And I'm not entirely sure if Navi had any idea that was happening. Now Maokai's starting to push across, but I think he realizes the Dragon's already been downed.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably a bit surprised about that one. And, he's just going to recall now as Cogmore is pushed once again. Cogmore is just going to spam the ultimates out. But really quiet start, Vince. I mean, only 1k in it, really, and just it's just so close. I just think that there's just going to be a sudden burst of action. You know, like I think it was the first game. You know, they stood off at Dragon for about, I think it should have been in like 3 or 5 minutes, and they finally went in. So I think there's going to be a big burst of action coming up very shortly.
That tends to be the case in League of Legends. If it starts off slow, you do have a kind of 5 to 10 minute window where all hell breaks loose. And I definitely think that's going to be the same in this matchup. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for there. But we actually said at the very beginning of this Enzi, before we even went in, actually hold that thought, there's going to be a gank onto Orianna here. She has been snared. She has also been binded down from Morgana, ultimate being used as well. And that's going to be a 3-on-1 with Maokai getting the assist and Morgana picking up that kill onto Orianna. And Orianna must be pretty damn devastated right now, because she even popped that shockwave. She even popped the ultimate to try and save herself, and it just simply wasn't enough. But back to what I was about to say before, we did say before we even started the first match that we thought this would be the closest game that we've actually casted so far in CVC. On paper, it definitely looked close, and it would appear that that came to fruition. This has been a really good game. Another gank coming up from Maokai though onto Corki, but the great thing about Corki is that Valkyrie is such a lifesaver for him. He just had enough mana to actually pull that one out, and will pull back with Soraka supporting him, of course. So 3-for-1 is our overall scoreline. There's only 100 gold in it though, back to even now as it stands, so that just goes to show how close this game truly is.
Yeah, we actually forgot to mention right at the start of the game, when that Morgana was picked out, we were like, okay, Morgana, very strong champion, but we forgot how well Morgana and Maokai actually coexist in ganks. I mean, you got the snare, you got the dark binding, then you got the Morgana ultimate. It's practically a guaranteed kill unless you get out of the initial snare. So, or maybe just a miss at the dark binding if Morgana tends to engage. But yeah, that damn ganks mid are so annoying for Orianna, and that's definitely a reason, a good reason that Morgana was picked. I mean, it syncs very well. Obviously, they had Ziggs last game. It didn't come off too well, but Ziggs really performed as a player. So yeah, just great ganks that are going to be produced from that mid lane.
Yeah, Citizen showing just how strong he is in mid. He's such a good player. Last game, as you say, with Ziggs did a phenomenal job. This time starting off well with Morgana. And it's important to note as well that Maokai isn't just a one-trick pony. That snare isn't the only thing he brings to the table. His ultimate's very good for team fights. And the Arcane Smash as well is like a mini knockback and does slow down enemies by about 40%, I believe. So in that instance, he's very useful as well. Going to see these two dancing in mid once again. Morgana's going to pop off the Soul Shackle. Ignite's been used as well. But with that defend, it's absolutely not going to do anything to Orianna. Orianna's now going to tower dive, does get the kill there with the auto attacks, and that was a real epic battle in that mid between the two, and the blue buff has been passed over towards Orianna. Here comes Maokai though, doesn't want to be too arrogant just yet, but she has managed to pull back, using that ball once again, command protect to her advantage. Great work. So maybe Orianna is going to be able to bounce back from these early ganks. In the meantime, at bot lane, Absolute Zero has been used from Nunu, absolutely crippling Corki, but again, that Valkyrie just allows him to jump back if he feels like he's under serious pressure. He can just make himself scarce once again. Here comes Cogmore though. It's going to be popping off that W. Will he land the ultimate? The answer is a no. Heal has been used from both parties. Here comes Lee Sin though. Is he going to use the safeguard onto Soraka and jump across? The answer is a yes, but can he land anything here onto the Nunu? He has missed the Q. Deary me. If he landed that one, that would for sure have been a dead Nunu. and somehow Kog'Maw has managed to escape as well. In amongst all that frenetic action, the top tower did also go down, so huge play from both teams, just end-to-end stuff.
Yeah, Cogmore, I think, just thought, okay, if I stay in this and try and help Nunu, I'm going to die anyway. Nunu was skilled enough to just juke it out there with the Q, and Lee Sin did miss. But yeah, I completely agree. If Lee Sin did land that, that would have been a guaranteed kill. They probably could have tower dived, actually, but it would have been very risky. Obviously, Lee Sin's Q would have definitely been on cooldown. But yeah, he did miss, but all players, you know, no kills exchanged at bot lane. The tower at top lane did actually go down. Morgana is actually coming down from mid, and could maybe catch out the people on red.
Yeah, and the reason they actually used the exhaust on Soraka there was basically to hamper her healing effects, which actually is quite smart when you think about it. But either way, they're now under all kinds of pressure as both Soraka and Lee Sin are running away for their lives. Lee Sin has used that dragon kick to try and knock back Nunu, but look at this slow, just consistent slowing onto Lee Sin. He must feel like he's running through mud right now, and finally gets down from Citizen, who picks up his second or third kill, in fact, onto Lee Sin. The dragon hasn't quite respawned yet, otherwise that would have definitely been a free dragon for Navi as well, but they do ever so slightly move closer on the gold. Having said that though, NZ, it's pretty much dead even. One turret each, 21.1k gold to each team as well. Ridiculous.
Exactly the same as last game. I mean, it was so close. The game lasted, I think, about 50 minutes, and for a League of Legends game, that is relatively a relatively long game. But I think mid there is a gap.
Yeah, Orianna is just dead. There's no two ways about it. She got ganked from 4 players. I was going to jump in and I thought, is there really any point? She is just completely dead.
She dropped like a fly.
Indeed, exactly. And as you said before, you know, the kind of the composition of Morgana plus Maokai is absolutely ridiculous, because Morgana simply can't miss a snare on an enemy when Maokai's just snared them himself. It doesn't really work that way unless they have some kind of twitch or something and actually miss entirely. It's a real easy skill shot to actually line up there. And having said that, it's a real easy dragon as well from Navi. Oh, Morgana so nearly landing that Dark Bind onto Lee Sin. That would have been a kill had she have landed it. Here comes Soraka. Surely he's going to safeguard through the wall. Indeed he does. But Morgana is definitely on the case. Lands the Dark Binding on the second time of asking. Lee Sin is surely going to die here. Indeed he will. And again, that combination of Morgana and Maokai just working to absolute perfection here from Navi. It looks like, you know, they could potentially be taking this third game, Enzi. The way they're playing right now, they're always together. They're going to pick up another tower here. They're already a tower ahead. It's going to be 2 towers very, very shortly, and that goal difference is starting to edge ahead for Navi.
Yeah, that was a beautiful skill shot from Citizen right there with Morgana to catch Lee Sin off guard there. But Maokai was around there, you know, could have hit the snare. But that was a beautiful play from Morgana right there. She didn't give up the chase. She knew her Q was going to be off cooldown. Her Dark Binder was going to be off cooldown very shortly, and she used it to perfection. The Maokai came in, just like we said, that combination too strong. And they managed to pick up the kill and the tower and a dragon. So Navi really edging ahead in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Navi snowball this one on and just take the game now.
Well, it's definitely some work cut out for them, though, if that's going to be the case, because I know Meteor Makers are not going to lie down here. They are going to fight to the bitter end, regardless of what happens. And Olaf, to be fair, he does need pretty decent farm. He's not been doing necessarily too badly, but he's got 95 creep score. He's picked up the Giant's Belt, he's got the Vampiric Scepter and the Face, so definitely going to be trying to finish off that Frozen Mallet fairly shortly. On the opposite side, to switch things over, Udyr, who was top lane, has the Wriggles Lantern, the Phage, Mercury Treads, and he is about 30 or so creep score ahead of Olaf, so Olaf was definitely getting bested there, and of course he also lost his top lane fairly recently. So Baron has got a few wards down on it. As with most of the League of Legends games that we've casted, NZ, Baron has always been an integral part in how the game ends up playing, and I think it's definitely going to be the case once again, as we're nearly 20 minutes through this game. Very little to distinguish these two teams. I mean, if you have a look at the top, it says 6-2, but if you have a look at the gold, much, much closer than that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've said this so many times. You know, the League of Legends isn't always down to kills. It's about the team gold, the global gold on your team, and there's only 2k in it. That isn't a big margin. I mean, that's definitely comebackable. Meteor Makers are a very strong side. I think they just need to get out their heads a bit, chill out a little bit, and just think about it. But I think they're going for Baron.
Yeah, they may even finish this one off. You're going to see Lee Sin coming in here. Can he steal? Yes, he can. Somehow Lee Sin has managed to steal Baron, and they could even get him away as well. Koki's going to pick up the first kill onto Nunu, so all the hard work was done from Navi, and Lee Sin just comes in and pinches it. What a cheeky
Wow.
move that was, but that could be the game changer right there. Navi been looking so good. Suddenly a Baron out of nowhere. Corki is going to get down from Morgana. Here comes Orianna as well. Is she going to use the ultimate? The answer is no, because it's already been used. So obviously for a second there I thought she was going to try and pop it off, but not to be the case. Either way, Meteor Makers must have a huge grin in their face right now. Finally, no, Corki died. In the end, he's been way too aggressive. Did get kind of punished for that hubris. But I think they're going to be fairly happy with that, to say the least. They managed to get a Baron, and now they're right back in this game.
That was incredible stuff from Lee Sin. Really nice steal, and that can definitely, you know, change the tide of this game. Like we said, one little mistake, one bit of luck even, of what Lee Sin just got, can completely change this game around. You know, they did. Navi did all the work. Lee Sin's like, okay, I'm just going to steal this. Boom, got the Baron. And there we go. They're going to take advantage of this. They're probably going to push all the lanes right now, take as many towers, and just try and separate that gold difference out. They're going to have probably full map control unless they get caught out.
Yeah, I think, you know, there would have been some pretty harsh words on the team speak there from Navi. Like, WTF, dude, they just stole our Baron, oh my god. And Lee Sin just running around like, trollolol, I'm cool, you're not. Either way, Corki did kind of overextend there, and I was a bit perplexed at that move, because he had managed to get the first kill, but then kind of threw it away. You don't want your AD carry to give away Baron too needlessly. But either way, he does have Trinity Force already built up. He's on 1 for 179 creep score. When you compare that to Kog'Maw, again, Kog'Maw is slightly behind on creep score, but he has got that Phantom Dancer. And Phantom Dancer with Kog'Maw is serious pain. He's got 154 creep score respectively towards him. Orianna has the Abyssal Scepter. She has Chalice of Harmony. She is heavily stacking this magic resist right now. And on the flip side, Morgana's picked up the Hourglass. Such a good item for her, and the blasting one. So of course she can pop that Soul Shackle. If she's feeling like she's in the heat a tiny bit, pops the Hourglass, and of course her ultimate does keep on ticking regardless. So big items coming up there from Morgana.
Yeah, absolutely agree there. You know, Morgana with Hourglass is so strong. Can pop the ultimate and then pop the Hourglass. Boom, she cannot be killed. The only thing they can really do is try and escape there. But it is quite difficult. But yeah, I think this game is going to come down to the wire. Like what happened last game, one mistake is going to completely change the tide of this game. And you know, the Baron steal has definitely put Meteor Makers in the favor. But I'm gonna hand it right to you, because I just feel like something's going to happen.
There's something in the air, isn't there? You can see the players just ever so slowly lurking around in the shadows in jungle. And yeah, there's definitely something that suggests there could be a team fight kicking off relatively soon. Of course, when you have Baron buff, the majority of teams are going to try and make that work for them and just try and push down as many towers as they possibly can and get as much map control as they possibly can. It's exactly what Meteor Makers are doing right now. You know, Navi feel, look, we can't really do a 5v5 outside of our base, so we just have to pull back. We'll allow them to take that tower. Just wait until Baron wears off. How long's left on Baron? Let me have a quick look. There's not too long at all. Must be about 30 or so seconds at max. So Meteor Maker perhaps going to try and take this inhib tower down and then pull back, recall, buy up, and then come back stronger. But there definitely looks like it's going to be a big engagement. Shockwave's been used. It got 2 or 3 players in. Phenomenal damage coming in there. Nunu's also going to pop off the absolute zero. Is it going to do anything? Not really. Olaf's also going to charge in there. Just Bromacia all over this place. And now Corki trying to pull back with that protect. Could actually get dropped from the tower. Only just manages to pull back. Udi is surely going to fall. Indeed he will. And Kog'Maw, the lone survivor, must have post-traumatic stress disorder after seeing his whole team butchered in front of his very eyes. And now he's going to have to try and hold off 5 players. To be fair though, 2 of them on very low health. If Kog'Maw can land an ultimate or 2 on this Corki, he's actually going to fall. But no, not to be the case. Soraka stood right next to him as well, so surely Kog'Maw won't be able to do anything to stave off this onslaught. The inhib's going to go down as well. They're going to recall, or maybe even pick up the dragon, as dragon has respawned as well. And after that dragon, recall, buy up, and they're right back in this NZ. 7-7 the scoreline, 6-3 towers ahead, 36.9k gold to 32.6k gold, so they are ahead on gold as well by about 4.3k.
Wow, incredible stuff from Meteor Makers. That damage was absolutely incredible, even under a tower. And just like we said, you know, one mistake completely changed the game. That's what Meteor Makers have done. Very unfortunate with Navi. Unless they can steal this dragon with that present, no they won't. I was about to say if Maokai did that. But yeah, you know, Meteor Makers got that Baron, and now they're in the driver's seat right now. You know, they can control this game. Actually, Navi going very aggressive. But
Yeah, they did.
I think they will back off. Yeah.
I think they're trying to push back. I think that's pretty much the mentality right now is, look, guys, we're behind, and, like ravenous animals, do they kind of just bow down and allow themselves to be killed, or do they fight back and come out kicking and screaming? I think Navi are going to do the latter of those two options. They don't want to fall without a fight. They really want to make a go of this. Of course, Meet Your Makers won the first game. Navi came back in game number 2. And now Meet Your Makers, you have to say, are definitely favourites to take this one. Let's have a quick look at the items while we're kind of in a stalemate right now. Corky has Trinity Force, and the BF Sword with the Vampiric Scepter could very well be going towards that Bloodthirster. Olaf has that Frozen Mallet, also picked up the Zeke's Herald. And you're also going to have Lee Sin with the Wriggles Lantern, the Aegis of the Legion. Oriana has added the Sheen to the mix as well. Going to be picking up this blue at MYM while I'm talking. And on the opposite team, let's have a quick look. Morgana has picked up that Hourglass, but really hasn't added anything to it since the last time I spoke about it. And Corkmore hasn't died a single time, Enzi, but he's also not got a single kill and only 2 assists. So the difference between this game and the last one is Cogmore really hasn't had too much of a role to play here. And for me, that's the reason why Navi are currently losing.
Absolutely, and he's not really got any, damage output with items. I mean, he's got the Phantom Dancer, the attack speed has increased, but there's no real standout attack damage items like the Infinity Edge, like a Wriggles, nothing like that on his build right now. So he's going to be quite weak even with damage-wise, and how good he is late game, but you need them items late game, He has got the Phantom Dancer, that's good. Maybe he's saving for a BF Sword, I'm not sure how much gold he has. But I definitely think this is a big reason why Nevi are behind right now. They need that Cogmore to just buckle up and start doing some stuff.
It's not even that Cogmore's been playing bad. I mean, that's the key thing. It's just that because the team fights have been kind of out of his hands and he's just had to basically run for his life, he's not been able to stand and fight very much. For example, that last big team fight that kicked off at the bot lane basically took the bot inhib down. I mean, Oriana went massive with that shockwave. She took 3 players out basically by herself. What can Cogmore do in that position? Absolutely nothing. So you have to feel sorry for the guy here. That he's got 202 creep score, he's got more than Corky does, and he's got decent-ish items, I guess, for this stage of the game. He has over 2,000 gold in his back pocket, but really there's not too much he can do here, Enzi. That Baron has a respawn. Look at MYM, going to just boss this out. The tag team duo of Lee Sin and Olaf probably going to take this down without any problems whatsoever. In the meantime, what can Navi do? Corky, Oriana and Soraka just proving way too much problems for them in the mid.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're behind right now, they have to just stay back and just stay in the mid right now. They have to try and control their lanes, and they're around Baron right now. They've got the Baron.
Exactly, and really the key changer, the game changer here was that Lee Sin Baron steal. There's no two ways about it. Since then, MYM have just been coasting down the fast lane, no problems whatsoever. They've been in the driver's seat, but here we go. Lee Sin has been caught out from the Dark Binding. A huge shockwave once again catches 3 players. Morgana very nearly falling. Here's Maokai trying to tackle all 5 players by himself. Not going to be able to do too much, and I'm absolutely amazed that not a single player has fallen in that exchange. If Karthus was on the battlefield right now, I think he'd get a Requiem pentakill, as all the Navi players are pulling back. But of course, Karthus is not a feature of this matchup. He was on the ban list. Either way, this mid tower will surely be going down from MYM. Nothing Navi can do. That inhib's also going to fall, and the final curtain is starting to come down on this game. It's going to be 2 sets of super minions charging down towards the Nexus. Complete map control as well from MYM, and it is just going to snowball out of, well, basically out of control. I can't see how Navi can pull this one back, Enzi.
I don't think they can, even if they win a team fight right now, they would have had to leave their base to win that team fight. They're going to be under constant harass from super minions. They're going to have to stay in the base, and when you've got 2 inhibs down, that is absolutely detrimental to your whole team. So really, even if they decide to push now and win a team fight, the super minions are just going to push that other lane.
Yeah, they really do have to just turtle in until those 2 inhibs have respawned, as you're saying, and this is just going to allow MYM to basically be like, okay, well, we'll just take your jungle, we'll take our jungle, we'll build up even stronger items, and we'll come back at you twice as hard. And, Meet Your Makers, Navi are basically stood there, kind of like, oh, well, we feel kind of weak right now. I mean, Cogmore has built up the BF sword, he's still on 002, which, for an AD carry, again, it's not his fault. I know I'm harping on about this, but it's simply not his fault this is happening. But he's just not really been a part of this game. Navi Meet Your Makers have managed to completely deny this Cogmore from any participation in this third match, and they have to be, given huge props for doing just that. But here you go, and the Meet Your Makers are going to take down the red buff and the wraiths as well, probably going to take the golems if they so choose, and then push this bot lane, it would appear. And with those super minions right behind them, they are going to be very, very strong indeed. There should be a fight kicking off very soon. I think this next fight is going to determine whether or not this game lasts another 2 minutes or not. If Navi lose, of course, it's going to be an easy push towards the finish line for Meet Your Makers. So this is going to be Navi's last stand. The question is, are they going to be successful? Inhib is going to go down again, and now they're going to have to defend these two Nexus towers. Top lane is by and large going to be fine. It's on pretty much full health. But Meet Your Makers can comfortably tank this and take it down within about 5 to 10 seconds, no problems whatsoever. But this could be where Navi decide to strike back and try and make a game of this, Enzi. You're going to see Morgana taking point. Thought for a second she's going to land that Dark Binding, not to be the case. Going to see the ball coming out as well from Orianna. Orianna does have that ultimate. She does have the Ball of Doom open to her if she so chooses. Is she going to go for it again? She's going to be the initiator here. There is no doubts about that whatsoever, unless one of her team gets kind of basically impatient. Here we go. Could be a big ultimate coming in any second now. Here comes Morgana using that Soul Shackle. Shockwave, is it going to be used? It has already been used, so she's going to be pulling back Morgana, trying her best to survive. Corky coming round from the backside, so obviously Meet Your Makers trying this cutesy split themselves, but can Corky pick up kills? Again, nobody's fallen yet. I'm absolutely amazed by this. Somehow Morgana, Cogmore and Maokai are all going to survive by the skin of their teeth, but of course at this stage of the game, that is simply not good enough. They have to win these team fights, as that inhib tower is going to get dropped. The third inhib is also going to die, and now it's only a matter of time before the GG is called. Even if they win these team fights, they're going to start to push in now. Lee Sin is going to get completely exploded. Having said that though, realistically it means very little. Cogmore is going to be chasing after that Soraka, who's been forced to pop her Ghost. But will she be down? In fact, she wasn't popping Ghost, she was popping Shirai's Reverie. And now they're going to go ahead and pick up that blue. But Enzi, it's already over.
Yeah, 3 inhibs down. It's got to mark the game, and Navi are chasing. That's exactly what MYM want them to do, because they have super minions. Cogmore has to stay in the base, and even if MYM drop right now, Navi, they're realizing right now, look, we have to get back. Super minions are in our base. We can't just have one guy handling every single one. So they have to get back, and MYM are going to push back.
Exactly. I mean, best case scenario here is, like, if Navi can win the next 5 or 6 team fights in a row, maybe then they can win. But, I mean, obviously that's pretty bad odds stacked against them. They have managed to pick up the kill onto Corky from Udyr, but again, you just got all kinds of pressure coming in from the super minions. Super minions on the bot tower are going to take it down to about 50% health or so. Cogmore's going to do his best to try and force this one back. He still hasn't picked up a kill or a death. 0-0-4, 33 minutes through the matchup. That isn't too often you can say that about a Cogmore. I mean, that's quite odd. But in the meantime, Dragon has respawned. That's going to be yet another free Dragon going to Meet Your Makers. And is there any conceivable way in your mind, Enzi, that somehow, some way, Navi can pull themselves back in this game?
I think they can, but the difficulty level is just sky high. They're going to have to turtle it out now. Wait for their inhibs to come up, and they're going to have to win a couple of team fights, no doubt about it. But now MYM, what they need to do, they need to keep pressuring that base right now. They're in the driver's seat. They control the whole of the map. They control every single lane. Get their buff. They need to push. One final push. Push down the middle. Let the top super minions push. Let the bot super minions push. Navi will finally split, and then they can go in, get 2 kills, go to another lane where the splitters are, and get them as well.
Yeah, I mean, on the map it looks very, very one-sided, but if you actually look at the statistics, 9 for 7, and the goal difference isn't exactly spiraling out of control. It's just purely down to those Barons. The Barons have turned the game. Lee Sin, with that steal, using Smite to perfection. Since then, it's been one-way traffic, and Meet Your Makers have been in the driving seat. And having said that, though, he's going to come under heavy attack from Cogmore, who's still doing all kinds of damage. You're going to see Morgana just rushing in with Soul Shackles. She also has the Hourglass, so she should, by and large, be alright. Lee Sin has gone down. Udyr, though, being completely obliterated from Corky, so 4 versus 4 now. And again, repeating myself, these tit-for-tat exchanges, kill for kill, are simply not good enough for Navi. They have to win these team fights outright to stand a chance. One of their Nexus towers has gone down. Inhib respawns, gets instantly destroyed. This surely is going to be the second Nexus tower. Shockwave used as well. Big damage coming out from Orianna. Going to see Morgana surely fall. Has popped that Hourglass. Hourglass, but only delaying the inevitable there. She will go down as well from the Oriana. Corky perhaps will fall from Cogmore, who's forced to flash back, and that's going to be the GG. A great best of 3 series, Enzi. Absolutely loved every single game. Huge props to both Meet Your Makers and Navi, but congrats in the end to Meet Your Makers. Lee Sin, you absolute hero.
Indeed, completely changed the game just from that one Baron still, and they will pick up the game, so it will be Meet Your Makers winning that best of 3 series, and what a game that was. 2 days in a row now, we've had 2 exciting best of 3s, and like we said, the final 16 is where we see the real games. This is where we see the close games. This is where we see all the non-stop action, and it's been like that for the past 2 days, and props to both teams. They played very well indeed, but Meet Your Makers, Lee Sin, let's just congratulate Lee Sin with that Baron steal. Completely changed the game, and he's probably a hero for their team right now.
Oh, there's no doubt that after that steal, you could noticeably see that suddenly Meet Your Makers like, hold on a second, we can actually win this game. Because you have to remember, before that, Enzi, they were actually behind. And they'd been behind for about 5 to 10 minutes. So that steal, again, was just absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Meet Your Makers definitely showing they're a serious contender to take home the Corsair Vengeance Cup. Bass, I just need to confirm, before obviously I say anything, are we casting the SK XHCL match as well, or is that already started? Alrighty, well, we have more action coming up for you. Just been told the first game has started already between SK Gaming and XHCL, and apparently XCHL are actually winning. XHCL, sorry, are winning that game. So maybe a bit of an upset there. They're a very good team, though, you have to say, but SK, fan favourites possibly. So we'll be joining game number 2. We'll keep you updated if it takes a little while, guys, but for now, stay tuned to KSTV. I'm Metis, joined by Enzi, and you're watching the Corsair Vengeance Cup. See you very shortly.